Hey, what's going on? This is Roots, and this is Virtual Strangers review discussion of Home Sweet Home. As always, along with me is Wes. Wes, how's your Friday night going for you?
Well, it was going okay, and then it got a bit frustrating, and now it's okay again.
You removed yourself from the problem just enough to
I
not
did.
be ready to rage, but we'll get talking about it and we'll rile it back up in you, and we'll have fun, right? So I guess let's get to it. So Home Sweet Home is a VR game that actually I guess it was released as a flat game, was it not? September 27th, 2017. At least the VR came a little bit later, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. It was originally a flat horror game on Steam. VR support was added, and then it expanded to
Yeah.
Xbox, or not Xbox, but PlayStation.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, that was October 16th, 2018, which actually is kind of crazy. This game started out as they were going to make it a mobile game, I saw. And after, like, I think it was 8 months, then they decided to make it into PC. And then they did that for 18 months. They released it for PC. And then they did for several months, the VR version. So they've done several versions of this to get it to where it's at now. So it's actually in a pretty good state, mostly. And that's part of what your frustration is. And we'll touch on that when we get there. But let's talk about, well, they say 3 hours of gameplay. You say that was quite a bit more, correct?
Yeah, it was a lot more for me, and I can't imagine anyone beating this game in 3 hours. I would imagine I probably spent at least six on it, probably more.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I put it close to 2 hours and was starting to get into a bit of a rhythm, and then I started to experience my own bit of jank. It froze up, and then I was done. But so let's go reverse on that. Let's talk about the jank first, and then we'll talk back. We'll talk back on everything else. What's your favorite janky moment that you had on this? And by favorite, most frustrating.
I don't know. There was probably three main bouts of jank that took up large amounts of my time. And one of them wasn't really jank. There was two that were specifically jank, and then there was another that was a puzzle that they gave you a hint that the hint was just completely off the wall. I just never understood the logic of it and ended up having to look it up. But outside of that, there were two real main bouts of jank. Now, that said, there's tons of smaller, performance issues, things like that you encounter in the game, glitching through walls, problems centering yourself. That stuff pretty much happens intermittently throughout the entire game. And let me just start by saying this. When you're an independent developer and you make a flat game and you go through the trouble of bringing your flat game to VR, I have a deep appreciation for that. It's guys like this that have helped keep VR alive through the tough early days that we're just now starting to come out of. So when I see a developer like this, it's a small developer that has put in the work to bring their flat game into VR, having no experience making VR games, I take that into consideration. So I will look over a lot of this jank. Stuff like I just mentioned, centering errors, clipping into objects, things like that. The game freezing every now and then. I can overlook that stuff considering what I just said, that this is a new guy or a new set of developers that are new to making VR games. I generally won't even mention this stuff during videos. I'll cut it out most of the time so people don't see it, just to try to make the game look good if I'm enjoying it. That said, was two main bouts of crippling jank that took up large amounts of my time. One of them was fairly early on, maybe an hour or two into the game. And I spoke about this one the last time we had an in-depth talk about this game on the Virtual Strangers program. There's this hallway that you have to run down, and there, in this game, most of the game, probably 80% of the game, you're trying to avoid this zombie girl who's who, if she sees you, she will run after you and stab you to death with a box cutter. Funnily enough, but there's this one part where there's a corridor you're running down. She sees you, she chases you down it, and what's supposed to happen is you run down the hall. All these tables and chairs and things are jumping out in your path because of poltergeist activity, and you're supposed to weave through it and into this crawl space at the end of the hall, and that's how you get away. I probably spent 45 minutes to an hour running down this hall over and over and over again. I would probably have 10 feet of distance between me and this girl. She wasn't even close to me, but when I would get to the end of the hall, it would make me stop. It would make her stop, and I would turn around and see her stabbing the air 10 feet behind me, and it was cutting me up and killing me.
I know.
Over and over and over again.
I know exactly which hallway you're talking about, except for that didn't happen to me as far as the glitch, because I wasn't in the wrong spot or whatever. I'm assuming you reset or whatever to fix it, but I ran into the blood, and that slowed me down. And then when one of the poltergeists threw the shit in my face, and then I got hit, and then she caught me, and then she started doing her stabby thing, and I didn't know you could actually hit block or do something to get away, hit A or something, and so I just stood there and got stabbed to death, and I'm still a little scarred inside. But
yeah, I never figured out any way to fight back after she gets you. I know that they give you this rolled metal bracelet that they say gives you protection against her.
Doesn't work.
And after you find it, the only difference I could tell is that when she grabs you and starts stabbing you, you have this glowing bracelet on your arm, but it doesn't do anything. I tried pushing every button when she grabs a hold of me. A, B, all of it, everything, and nothing ever happened. That's weird,
because I saw the literal A. It told me to push A, and because I noticed it when I was almost dead, and I was like, oh shit, and then I died, and I was like, oh okay, well I guess I was supposed to be fighting back or something. So
I never pushed A. I mean, I never saw anything that said push A, but I pushed all the buttons, and nothing ever happened from it. So anyway, that was my first bout of jank. The other bout of jank was just today, and it's why I'm so salty right now, is because I put in another 2 hours on this game today to beat it, and I make it to the end, and trust me, I confirmed that this is the end. I know it's the end because after I quit, I went on to YouTube and watched, and I'm right. This was the end. There's this part at the end where you have to escape, and the doors are bound together with a piece of rebar, and you have to saw through it. And there's a bunch of stuff you have to do to accomplish this. It takes probably 10 minutes just to accomplish getting through that rebar. But when I sawed through it and got out, it automatically clipped me into the steps that are in the next room. And that's it. You're frozen. You can't turn. You can't move. It doesn't matter how you recenter, how you move. You're just stuck. Nothing you can do. The zombie lady just walks right past you up the stairs, and you're just stuck. So I started over again and did the whole deal again, and same thing. You just got stuck. So after I gave up, like I said, I went on the YouTube so I could at least watch the end of the thing for this review, and the guy that was playing it, exactly the same thing happened to him. 3 times in a row, he couldn't finish the game. It just clipped him into the wall every time. And eventually that guy switched over into flat mode and played through the rest of it. But I didn't buy this to play a flat game, and I refuse. I'm not going to do that. If I can't play through it in VR, then to hell with it. I'm not going to beat it. And yeah, I'm still pissed off about it. If you can't tell.
Yeah, well, that's exactly why I started out with it, because you were so salty about it. It's like, man, we need to get this while Wes is hot about it. And then also, it kind of pisses me off too, because I spent 2 hours in there. I didn't spend 7 or whatever it is, but I spent 2 hours in a game that I can't finish. And even if I wanted to, I technically can't finish it. And it's an indie developer, and I get it. It doesn't work. You take some time to fix it. I mean, it's only been March of 2018 since that guy's video where he was clipping into it. So it's at least been happening since March of 2018. So that's what pisses me off, because it's close to 2 years that it's not fixed. But oddly enough, no one is bitching about it in the PlayStation VR forums. Tell me about that. That was kind of interesting information that you were telling me as far as the PlayStation version.
Well, let's start with this. The whole reason that I bought this game in the first place, I wanted a new horror game, and especially back then, most of the people I associated with and interacted with online were people from the PlayStation VR community. So if you ask those people, okay, everybody knows Resident Evil 7's great, Here They Lie's great, Rush of Blood's great. What else? What's the game? They pretty much unanimously will tell you that Home Sweet Home is the game to buy. So that's why I bought it. But when I went, looking to buy this game, I'm a bargain shopper. I'm on a budget. The PlayStation version was $30, and the Steam version was pretty much half price. So I went with the Steam VR version, and yeah, night and day difference. I think I can see why it costs half as much, because you can't finish it. And I can tell you right now that Sony has a reputation for not allowing stuff like this on their store. So the fact that the PlayStation VR community had such a different experience than I did does not surprise me in the least. If this game is being published on PlayStation, it's because it works. And that just frustrates me even more, because I know that they put in extra work to make this thing work for PlayStation, but then after that, they didn't come back to Steam to correct the original version of it. And they know that, and that's why there's such a big price difference.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Well, and they kind of screwed themselves out of at least two people playing the sequel. We just found out episode 2 came out September 25th of this year, and I told you about it. You're like, oh, it's not out yet. And I said, yeah, it is. And you said, no, not till December. And I was like, oh, it came out early. And you said, well, I'm not buying it. Fuck that game. And you were 3 hours ago, you were sold on this game, you can't just not finish your game, dude. Like, I don't know, man.
It's not about the money. It's about the time. Like I said, and let me be clear here. I know we kind of got off and started the wrong way with it here. I would not have played this game for 6 to 8 hours if I didn't enjoy it. I wouldn't have overlooked these minor bouts of jank here and there if it wasn't a good game. This is a very good game. It spans over 3 different maps, 3 different, very distinctly different maps that you phase in and out of, kind of like through dimensional portals. The story is complex and fragmented in such a way that you have to work to put it back together. Graphically, it looks very good. The sound effects are really good as well. And the stealth gameplay, it's one of the better stealth horror games that I've ever played, as far as the concept and how it works. Mm-hmm. But for me to put all this time into this game, commit myself to finishing it, and then not being able to finish it, like Ruuts said, I was sold on Home Sweet Home 2 at the start of this day, and now I'm not going to buy it. If they gave it to me, I might not even play it. I probably would, to be honest. But
I told you.
I don't know, man.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's so, to me, that's why I started off with it, because, as good as we're going to describe, like you said, I agree. I think that the gameplay, I was saying, we just finished doing Dark Days. I was saying this was night and day. I enjoyed the stealth play of this. This is one of the best stealth horror games I've played. The atmosphere, the immersion, the creepiness, like that chick, man. Really, I was telling you, I was going around, and my first thing is, okay, where's my hiding spots, and as soon as I find them, because she comes screeching. She's fast, man, and she does a little stabby thing with that box cutter. I saw it up close and personal. I don't want to see it again. I really enjoyed myself, but I can't go back into it now after finding out I can't finish it. And there's a lot of people that I guarantee would say, just finish it flat. That's no big deal. But like Wes said, well, am I going to finish everything flat? Should I just play the whole game flat? At some point we got to hold these developers feet to the fire and say, dude, finish your game, man. It's been 2 years. You're now releasing the second episode and you're leaving people's dicks in the wind. It's just not good, man. I really feel like you just put together a 1,000-piece puzzle and you found out the last piece is gone and you wanted to frame it and put it on the wall, and I literally had somebody tell me this week, oh yeah, you just scribble it, color it in. No, you don't color it in. You don't play the last 10 minutes of the game in flat mode. It just it's very disappointing.
Yeah, I agree. Because again, I really enjoyed this game. I enjoyed it enough to keep coming back to it, week over week, month over month. I didn't play straight through it, but I never got away from it for too long. You can find this video or this game, my playthrough of it from start to finish on my channel. Of course, my final episode with all the jank, the jank ending, not up yet. But within the next 2 or 3 days, if it isn't on there right now, it will be. So you guys can get on there and witness firsthand and see what I'm talking about. But if you're going to do that, I encourage you to go back further, watch some of the older videos, and see what I'm talking about. This is a very good game. The stealth gameplay in this game is better than the stealth gameplay in Rogan. It's better than the stealth gameplay in Intruders. Mm-hmm. It creates tension in a way like not a lot of games can, and it got my pulse up on more than a few occasions. And it's never through, I won't say never. Most of the time, it's not through the use of cheap jump scares and things like that. Even though it did get me once or twice with jump scares as well. Generally, it's genuine tension from trying to escape. That's what gets my heart rate up, is when I'm trying to get away and hide before I get stabbed to death.
My number one tension spot was when I went into a room and I was like creeping around and I went to grab something and it turned the radio on and it was like loud and that chick came running in there and I was like, oh fuck. I went trying to hide because it was, that was one of those moments I hadn't really found my hiding spot yet. There's quite a few moments like that. I really, I did enjoy what I played of it. And it's just a shame that they would, I just think it's a slap in the face to the people that bought this game. That's just a straight up, I don't mean to be so melodramatic about it, but that's just how I feel. So,
yeah, I understand. Obviously, like you mentioned earlier, this isn't something new. This isn't like I'm not the first person that this has happened to, and obviously, they were willing to put the work in to get it to the flawless point for the PlayStation community. I just wish I had known up front that I should have just thrown down the extra money and bought it on PlayStation. That's really my bottom line here with this game. I can't recommend it on Steam in its current state, and even having not played it on PlayStation, I think I can recommend it on PlayStation just because so many people that whose opinions I trust have raved about this game, uh, and I know for a fact that it's a good game. The game is designed well. The concepts awesome. The production values are awesome. The maps are big and diverse, and it's really creepy, scary game. So I'm sure that it's great on PlayStation, but overall, I just can't recommend it for any price on Steam because it's broken.
Yeah, unless you want to play it flat, then it's perfect. You know, it's built. You know, it just. Well, maybe they'll redeem themselves. Maybe they've got a patch coming tomorrow, and then we'll feel really stupid. But I doubt it. It's been 2 years, and I'm pretty sure this is as it's gonna be. You know.
I think you're right.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's pretty much everything that I would think we should say about it. I mean, if $16.99 is definitely worth it if you could finish it. $30 on PSVR is probably a little steep. I'd say $20 would be more realistic to me. But what do you think?
Uh, Dude, it's a long game.
Yeah.
You know, I think 25 would probably be a fair price, but I wouldn't begrudge someone paying 30 for it if it worked and you didn't have to deal with any of the crap that I had to deal with. It would have been a really great game. And to be clear, until I got just stuck to a point where I couldn't progress, I was content with continuing on. I was all set, despite all of the jank that I've dealt with up until today. I was all set to come in here and give this a recommendation. And that last session, I wasn't able to finish it. And then I found out that the other guy wasn't able to finish it. And just like that, it goes from a recommend to a not recommend. But on PlayStation, I know that it's much better. And 30 may be a bit much for it, but it's not crazily overpriced, maybe just a little bit.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you want to check this out, check it out on PlayStation VR. Stay away from the Steam version. It's the devil, and it will rip your soul out of your body. You know, I thought it was kind of cool how you flashed that flashlight at him or her, and she came back. I never thought about that. I was always scared to flash it at her, and I almost was ready to see her rip your door open and pull you out earlier. That would have been pretty cool. So.
She will. If you hide too late, she will pull you out of the locker and stab you.
Yeah, I don't like to get stabbed. I don't know. I have this aversion.
How funny is that there's this supernatural zombie girl and she's not ripping you apart with her supernatural powers and stealing your soul, but she's crying because she misses her ex-boyfriend and she's stabbing you to death with a box cutter.
Maybe it happened at work or something. Maybe she was a box, overnight clerk or something. I don't know.
She's a student.
Yeah.
I pieced together most of the multiple stories. There's 3 different stories going on here with 3 different timelines actually.
Wow.
All tied in loosely. It's really a complex story and a very well done game. It's just it's a shame that it's broken.
Yeah. What a bummer. All right. Well, I guess that does it for our review discussion of Home Sweet Home. What are your thoughts on Home Sweet Home? Let us know in the comments below. If you like what you have seen here, hit the like button. If you are not already subscribed, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell so you can get notified of our nearly daily content. And I guess from Wes and myself, Roots, we'll check you out next time.
Thanks for watching.